Are you ready?
I do a countdown, and we already did the countdown. Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of Built from Day One, and another win streak. The Timberwolves seemingly can only go on streaks this year, and luckily, lately, it's win streaks. So, the Timberwolves are now. I mean, it's tricky to gauge it because the Mavs are currently playing and down to the Hornets at half, but
By a point.
by 9 points.
Oh,
Um,
I checked
but
this
either
one.
way, the Timberwolves are now within a half game of
Yeah.
the Denver Nuggets, and
Who
then
counts?
1.5 games of Dallas. Right? Am I remembering this correctly?
I think it's two.
Oh, it might be two. Yeah, two. Yep.
Who cares?
But if they lose, that's what it was. If they lose today, then it is 1.5, and then
Yep.
it makes next week crazy interesting, like
Yeah.
crazy interesting. We play the Mavs twice. If we beat them twice, hypothetically, we could take over the 5 seed by the end of next week. It is possible, but we're Wolves fans, right? So we're ready. We're
For the
accepting.
worst.
Yeah, we're accepting that 7 seed, which apparently seems to be the worst case scenario right now.
That's fucked up, man.
That's insane.
We could lose out and be a seventh seed.
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
the Clippers would have to win every single game, and they're not going to.
Not
So,
happening.
yeah, we're pretty locked in that 7 seed, which is pretty insane to say. And we are 42-30. Welcome, Jack Hurd of the chat.
Nutties and buddies.
Yes, Nutties and Buddies. Welcome.
What are we
back.
talking about? Why are we 12 games over 500?
Headshot, Gerald, Statement, Hair, Ant, Drew.
Yeah, it was a fro game for sure, man. Fro game.
It was a great game. That should be
Cat's armband game.
Ooh, maybe Fro should be the new A tier for us. Thoughts?
Fro tier.
Maybe next year. But either way, Timberwolves win against the Milwaukee Bucks, 138-119. Patrick Beverley was tossed within 3 minutes of the game starting, I think.
Yeah. Maybe you got that 4 minute, bump.
Yeah. Or no, he played 10 minutes.
Played 10 minutes.
Wow. Okay. Well, good for him. But it was crazy game. If you're new here,
Double.
like the stream. No way. Okay, I was like, wait a second. If you're new here, like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get this fun alert that shows up depending on your privacy settings. #ad.
Subscribe right now.
But yes. Also, I saw that YouTube auto removed some of our subs the other day. But anyways,
oh my gosh!
So check your subscription to make sure you're still subscribed.
Welcome, Mclaughlin.
Yes, welcome. So, anyways, back to the game. Timberwolves kind of dominated. It's kind of weird. I was kind of low energy at the game. The game was really fun. There was a ton of Bucks fans there.
It was looks like it was sold out.
It was sold out. I mean, they still have those seats in the upper deck, behind the baskets, that they don't even sell.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it was pretty much sold out. I mean, there were people up to the very back rows. It was pretty insane. So
maybe they were there to see Bobby Flay.
They were there to see Bobby Portis, and basically only Bobby Portis. Anything Bobby Portis did, the loudest cheers of the night. Anything. Rebounds, getting fouled as he's shooting. It was like Bobby was the only one they cared about.
While really Bobby Portis was making threes, I was taking a close look at who was next to Mark Laurie on the sidelines.
Yes, and that was Bobby Flay.
That's right.
And he signed a pan for somebody for Crunch, and I think Crunch gave it away. But
fucking awkward.
It was really weird. And I mean, hey, Mark Laurie's got big friends, so.
What a crazy game for us to kind of sink our teeth into and kind of get word an hour or two before that Giannis wasn't playing. So immediately it's like a breath, you can sigh a little bit, you can kind of rest and unbuckle your belt buckle. I don't know what you would do when Giannis is out, but I felt a little bit more ease coming into the night. I was a little worried. And then the first couple plays, the first few minutes, we were still standing. I was worried about everyone's ankles and if they could withstand a full quarter of this. But I was really excited. Then it seemed like it just fell into place. The game got out of hand because we just made a bunch of threes. We just made a bunch of shots,
Yeah.
and there wasn't a whole lot of offensive flow. It was just Cat taking over, then Ant taking over, then D'Lo with a spurt here or there, and then Nas in the second quarter. Right, the second half though, man, that was something that just took any sort of like rhythm that we were lacking. The halftime adjustments, the Grayson Allen or like stopped being present in the game.
Yep.
Drew Holiday barely was a thing, and it was just Brook Lopez and Pat Connaughton versus the rest of our team, who was just banking dimes and I don't know. I'm just talking too much right now. I'm just making a lot of shots.
No,
It was awesome.
Everything you're saying is factual and things that I was gonna say. They took the players that were dominating us. They just either they took them out of the game, or they took themselves out of the game because
Sure.
we were getting kind of cooked by Drew Holiday a bit in the beginning. And Bobby Portis's effort, that was getting to us. He was also trying to get in people's heads at times.
Yeah.
But I think it just really lost its effect when he couldn't make buckets anymore. He kept trying corner threes, and it just wasn't working.
Right.
And he was getting rebounds, but he just wasn't being as effective as he needed to be, especially for how much of an irritant he was trying to be. It just doesn't work, if Pat Bev's having a bad game, sure, he can still get under people's skin, but why would they let it bother them if he's shooting 1 of 10? Who cares? But that's somewhat what happened there. And then, it was somewhat of a back and forth game, even though we had the lead for most, if not all, the game, or no, most of the game.
Yeah.
And it was because in the first half, especially, it felt like, oh, we made a bucket, oh, they made the same bucket, just kind of back and forth. But then you looked up and we're like, oh, we're up by 10. It was kind of like,
I know, and how did that happen?
Yeah, exactly. I was like, I'll accept that, but the one thing that I'm trying to take away from this game, the one thing that I'm trying not to take away from this game is to get too high. I was expecting to lose this game even after they said Giannis was out, because I was like, you know what, Giannis is out. I don't really remember the Bucks lineup that well, and then I was like, oh my gosh, they could still dominate us. And
you got a lot of random white dudes.
Yes, they do, and they have. I mean, Brook Lopez, I think, is pretty effective against us usually.
Yeah.
And he usually shoots more threes, which he didn't get the opportunity to do as much tonight.
Right.
But this is a team that is a quality team even without Giannis, and they're running play sets against us and successfully. They're getting these backdoor cuts that they are specifically planning and having happen, and we're not ready 100%. But unlike the Timberwolves of old, we can counterpunch. Maybe not in the way of a play set, but we just have, as you were mentioning, I mean, you kind of said everything, literally everything I was going to say. We just had shot makers tonight. We had Prince, Noel, Towns, Ant. Everyone was just, D'Lo was making threes. Everyone was making shots, and it was no team was going to beat us tonight. This is that Rockets team that I kind of talk about every once in a while, where it's they're going to live by the three or die by the three. And tonight we lived by it, and we lived handsomely, because it was, we hit 22 threes, I think, tonight. Right?
Yeah, we almost double beefed it.
We almost did do the double beef. But either way, the Timberwolves are now 42-30, with a very legit chance to be the 5 seed. Weirdly, we might not want to be the 5 seed. We might want to be the 6 seed instead of the 5 seed. Because if you're the 5 seed, that means you're going in the
second
same
round.
The first tier, or first you're gonna play against probably the Jazz or somebody like that.
Yeah.
But then if you win that matchup, which that would be tricky, if you win that one, then you go up against likely the Suns. So that's just a dead end path. So if you can be in that bottom tier where it's the 3 and 6 and the 7 and 2 matchup, that's a little bit more favorable. Because we talked about this last time. Me and Gerald talked about this last time. Shout out Gerald.
Shout out Gerald, who's actually me.
But we were talking about how really 2 through 7, 2 through 8, even anybody but the Suns feels beatable. It maybe not we can totally beat them in a 7-game series, but I think we have a chance against anyone in a 7-game series. Do you think that, or do you think there's another team out there other than the Suns that could? I mean, I think any team could dominate us, but I also think we could win against any team. But is there any team other than the Suns that what team scares you the most? I guess.
Uh, I'm trying to get off of this like buzz of being really high about this team right now.
Yeah.
I don't think in a 7-game series I'm scared of any team in the West.
Mm-hmm.
I will even say even Phoenix. They're not necessarily a roadblock. They're a cul-de-sac. They could be gotten. Like I think Towns is better than Ayton 10 times out of 10. I think their shooting can be neutralized with Patrick Beverly and Ant, who has emerged as this insane defender. And I think Chris Paul will flop his way to the line, but we have a flopper in our arsenal as well, so we can counterbalance the flop with flop. And we have a few X factors, and while they rely on Cameron Payne and others, we have, I feel, a little bit more spunk to our roster. So I will say that, knowing that we'll probably get swept by the Suns, I'm not fearing too many teams right now. Honestly, I fear the play-in games more than the actual series.
Same.
Because we could lose one,
Same.
and then we're playing LeBron, and then we would lose that game, and we would get fucking baby shit. And I don't know, man, it could get really testy. And I don't know. I fear the play-ins more than the actual series right now. And I'm actually also fearing how other teams are approaching jockeying for which seed they want.
Yep,
So is
like
Denver going to start losing out? Is Dallas going to start losing? Is like Utah going to lose just to get to that 5th seed or 4th? Like, they want the 6th seed. It's like the most pivotal seed or optimal seed for them. With I could talk ad nauseum. Like, Golden State looks weird right now. Memphis looks strong, but they're young and unproven. And I don't know, what does Chris Paul look like when he gets back,
Yeah. I'm glad you said that, though, because that is something that I've been scared of ever since the Lakers game. And obviously this has been a very hot topic in the NBA. Apparently, it's very taboo to make fun of an airball. But people have been very hot and bothered about the Timberwolves' actions against the Lakers. And at first I thought it was just Lakers fans, but then I realized that, of course, this is the time that the Timberwolves get some amount of national coverage.
Dude, the national media takes were just bad. They were so bad. They were like takes that I would say fucking 10 years ago as like, I want to be a podcaster.
Yeah, Kendrick Perkins was the only one saying anything with any sense. Right. Pretty insane.
And he talk about box fans, and now he's a fan.
Yeah. But I do worry that if we're in a play-in situation, we lose to the Clippers. I mean, it's only one game. You can lose. Like you said, I don't feel ultimately confident against anybody, but I also don't feel a guaranteed loss against anybody. But we could very easily lose to the Clippers and then have to play the desperate, starving Lakers. And if we lose that, we'll be banned into the shadow realm of the NBA forever in the general NBA's fans' mind.
Dude.
It'll be bad.
We can only win that many championships this season. So if we don't make the finals this year, it's okay. We'll have to just better luck next year,
Mm-hmm. I can't. I will be very down. There will be some sad shows if we lose both playing games. It'll be bad.
Well, we've had history of having sad shows, so we would have a good leg up on that. I will say, back to this game though. Yeah. The arena was like felt on screen in Seattle, man. Like I felt like I heard the noise. I heard every like riffle, and every time like they would clap for Beverly until he was like locked out of the game, and clap for Ant and all his aggression on the defensive end. Like we were clamping them. And I used to fear Chris Middleton, and now we have Ant Edwards on him, and now he scored 13 points in the first half, 2 points in the second half, man. Like they gave up. We just kept outscoring them. Mm-hmm. Turns out, empowering our bench has been a big boon to our growth of a team. And seeing Jordan Mclaughlin having those like moments there, getting that 3, getting that steal, getting that putback. Taurean Prince is kind of manning up and being that vet that we've been always wanting in the backcourt. Jalen Noel having his moment. Everyone had his moments, and Naz Reid in the second quarter just popped off for 12 on his own. Yeah. Very exciting times. It's hard to be like, but remember, right?
Yeah.
And so I always kind of like go down a notch when I look at the schedule ahead and get a little scared, because this is a really fun time right now to be 12 games above 500. And looking at this game in the footprint, like the Bucks are scary. The Bucks are an auto L prior to this preseason. Like we were just marking this game as an L, and they probably needed to win this game just to like get their positioning correct. And well, here we are up 20. You know, like beating them by 20. I remember going to a game a couple years ago, fucking losing by 50.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was lively in Target Center tonight, and I think it's important. You know, I was talking to my dad after the game, and you know, previously I feel like the Timberwolves, although in games we've been making more timely buckets, we haven't been having those same timely wins, where it really carries the fan base, not just who was at the stadium, but the people at home. That like exactly like you're saying, of like we want to feel that through the TV. I want to feel that energy, and I want to be at that game. Like somebody needs to be watching the game and be like, yeah, I'm gonna buy tickets to go to Target Center because I want to be in that crowd and feel that energy. And you know, I was super disappointed after the All-Star break, and this is the last thing I probably touch on before we go to the tier list. But you know, before or after the All-Star break, we won our first game, and then I think we lost. I can't remember to who, but it was to the 76ers. We lost against them with Harden his first game, and I was devastated because I was like, that is your moment to like capitalize on momentum, have the fans totally back. Yes, headshot, you got it. But you know, have everybody on your back, and like tickets are gonna go crazy. You're gonna have so many people at Target Center, and it just felt like at that moment we lost it. And I think for me, over this last span of games, we've won it back, and I think the fans are back. I expect Wednesday and Friday next week to be insane games against the Suns and the Mavs, especially if we beat the Mavs on Monday. Friday's going to be insane. Dude. So
what a time to be at Target Center. What a time to be in Minnesota, and just exciting vibes all around. You got Correa or whatever that was from Texas, and I don't know a thing about the Twins, but that's fun, man. Getting hype about the Minnesota teams back over there. As long as we get rid of Kirk Cousins, that'll be exciting.
Too bad we just signed him, but
just to respond to a few people here, thank you guys all for your support, man. This is awesome to see. We're almost at 150 subs. I said, you know, a couple years ago before we started this, if we ever get to 300 subs, I'll eat some shoe or something. So we're halfway there to shoe.
Yes, halfway. Yeah. And then I don't remember. I said something about a hot tub stream earlier this year, and I don't even remember what I said.
And then you said something about how the hot tubs are out of service.
They are out of service right now, but they may be.
Yeah. Well, just responding to Wombat saying Zoe Kravitz is greater than the world. I agree completely. Momo said I would put the Warriors in there too, in that like, you know, block of teams of like that we're not really too worried about. And like, fuck all those pundits who were like draft James Wiseman over Ant. God, we got to remember that like they're all idiots. Mm-hmm. They're all bad at this, and our guesses are almost as good as theirs. For real talk. And Gerald said something about like he's not really seeing CP3 being able to play like a full playoff run into the championship, unfortunately, which means like the East is looking like a beast right now, and all the teams out there. Like I can't wait to see what the play-ins and the first round is going to be like that over there. But we don't have to worry about it. I just definitely don't want to like get relocated to the East Conference when the teams are this strong and this like deep right now too. So anywho, I just said some words. You want to do here? Do you have anything else you want to start going into the over/under and tier list? Or
let's do over/under and tier list. We had some fun over/unders.
You guys had these like clappers in the arena today.
I didn't get any. We must have been too late. I thought they said it was everybody, but it must have just been like the first 10,000.
Everybody that mattered. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess man. Not me.
Not you.
Oh well.
And how do you feel?
How do I feel? I feel devastated.
Yeah. It looked cool in the arena, especially on like when they were announcing the lineup and everything. It was like this like lime green and black, and then the fire, and that was pretty cool to see.
The lights were insane. It was like a concert basically, and there were so many. Since it's like a full house, it looked just like a concert. It was crazy. Timberwolves Daily in the chat. Momo in the chat.
Momo,
we would be in a game if we were. I know. If don't look at the Eastern Conference standings because you'll be sad. Timberwolves Daily says Nuggets lose tomorrow and the Wolves are top 6. What's up, fellas?
Wow.
52 wins. Oh boy.
It was funny, right? We won that game on Friday, and I passed the fuck out. And then we had a couple games on Saturday that weren't us, but we cared about them, and they went in our favor. And it's like we won those. It's like we won Saturday without playing Saturday.
Yeah. Yep.
And we won today. Like so. Man, it's just a bunch of good vibes here. Before the week of hell. Before Hell Week.
It could be a bad week. It could be a really bad week.
Could be finals week. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
all you. I don't know, whatever. What's up, Zanin? Celtics need to take care of the Nuggets. Yeah, that's we need to take that care of that. Anything is possible, to quote Kevin Garnett, who got his jersey retired. And I wanted to say it hurt, it stung, and it didn't. I didn't care about it at all.
I kind of didn't either. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just like indifferent.
I'm over it. Like, I think he's talked his shit, and I mean, if you retire your jersey, that would be awesome and exciting for a plurality of Timberwolves fans.
Apparently, he came out with a quote. He came out with a quote today. KG did. That was the most controversial quote you'll ever hear. It was, Karl-Anthony Towns, I think, is a better shooter than Jokic and Embiid. And I was like, nice. You think?
Oh, okay, good job.
That's your hot take. Okay, interesting. Yeah, Steph Curry is a better shooter than D'Lo. Pay me. Like, ridiculous. Yeah. But, anyways, do you have the over-under in front of you?
Yeah, we had a pretty interesting over-under. We had a joint effort over-under because we had a late scratch off by Giannis, who was going to go for 33 but didn't, and we didn't have to be wrong about it. Cat had less than 4.5 fouls, which was the line for Cat, which was cool. Only had 3. Whoa. And he had 1 offensive, which I think he could have probably scaled it back, but from the previous games, that's a win. Also, I feel like he fell to the ground. Well, we'll talk about when we talk about Towns, but true. Man, he was just on the ground for the first half of the time. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, I can just shoot threes."
Yeah, exactly.
Speaking of threes, Ant's over under was set at 2.5 threes, and he doubled up and went for 5. Get better, big boy, because 2.5 was low. Over under for Wolves was set to 112.5. Well, we decimated that by 26. We went over with 138. And Jake Layman, our boy Jake Layman, was set at 0.5 points, which means we thought it would be garbage time and Jake would get some slay time, and he did maximum bay. He just sat in the corner.
He did nothing.
And ran around.
For the ball once.
He did what Westbrook would say about Patrick Beverley. Just the dude just running around.
Yeah, he running around doing nothing. And that's exactly what he did. But he had 3.5 minutes to do so it made me very nervous choosing the under.
We should have done over under on minutes, man.
Yeah, I know. I actually did think about that. Well, cool. Yeah, we had some fun
tier list
over unders tonight. And now tier list time. So we'll do what we normally do. We'll go through pretty quickly the bench players, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the starters. So we'll just do what we've been doing, and I'll start with Naz Reid. So I won't do Jake Layman, Nathan Knight, although Nathan Knight looked kind of good.
Nathan Knight, yeah, we should talk about Nathan Knight.
Yeah, Nate Knight. Maybe we will do Nate Knight. I'll bring him up tonight. He's probably the only one worth talking about from that group.
I think so.
Oh, he's already in there. Perfect. I got him up first. So Nate Knight had 6 points in 3.5 minutes. 2 of 3 shooting. He was 2 of 2 from the line. He did have a foul in those 3 minutes, but honestly, I mean, the fact that he's had some run over this past week or two, I think it's good because it's giving him at least a little bit of confidence going into. I mean, obviously, I would rather have Naz be playing than Nathan Knight, I think, but I think it's good, and I think he had good minutes. I would probably give him a B tonight. Better than I expected, but also not like insanely better than I expected.
I mean, he was essentially our leading scorer off in the fourth quarter, which was a little weird. With 6 points, we had someone with scoring 7, but other than that, it was just Nate Knight, which was weird. I think we kind of packed in a little bit there in the middle section of the fourth quarter when we had to bring in Cat and Ant and everyone back just for a couple minutes to solidify the win.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's awesome to have that assurance, and he was balling, and I feel like mad props to him for filling in Naz's shoes and playing the way that he was able to play and keep this shit going. Like, adversity, like, fuck off. Like, we can fill in with our players now and feel a little bit more confident about that rather than, oh shit, we got this like random scrawny white boy that's like 7 foot tall but has no skill of any kind, so
Um, yes, but
Sorry,
yeah, I think
you
he's a
guys are
B.
scrawny.
Anyways, next up we'll talk. I guess Nas Reed is a good way to go next. I keep not having these in order like a failure, so forgive me.
That's
But
okay.
Nas Reed went crazy that one quarter, and that's basically all of his production. He had
All he
12,
did.
yeah, he had 12. He played 12 minutes. Had
Oh, wow.
14 points, 3 rebounds. Which, by the way, I will say he's been better rebounding lately. Way better than he used to be. He still has some lapses, but like for the most part, it's been like way better than it was. A steal and assist. He was 6 of 9 shooting. Again, all pretty much in that same quarter, and only had 2 fouls. So, I mean, 2 fouls in 12 minutes, I guess, isn't great, but no, that was I thought this was a pretty good Nas night. Mainly
A-tier
based off of
performance
that
for
quarter.
me.
Sorry, what'd you say?
A-tier performance for me.
I'd say A tier as well. I mean, I don't expect this from Nas, so and he kept. I mean, he dominated that quarter, so I'll take it.
Yeah.
Next up, TP 3-ply Torian Prince. 16 minutes, 14 points, 4 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and a block. 4-6 shooting. And he had 3 personal fouls, and he got under people's skin a little bit.
Yeah, he got a double foul.
He did get a double foul, and maybe got Pat Bev ejected. But either way, I'd say Pat Bev also had a pretty good night. Or Pat Bev, my goodness, Torian Prince had a pretty good night. I'm kind of in the B to B plus range. I don't know if I can go all the way up to A because like we have higher expectations for him, but at the same time, like 3 steals and a block is pretty insane.
Yeah, I think I'm B plus, and if we were, I don't know, more relaxed and less of a stringent mood, we would probably give him an A. I honestly, it was awesome to see him play the way he played. The first half was a bit of a dud because I think it was a little bit more emotionally just like solidifying the game plan as opposed to and like stopping other people from like really then getting his shots in transition, and the threes and the and ones were awesome. So just like all around amazing effort. He's another player that gets to the line a lot and will continue to do that for us. Sight for sore eyes from the beginning of the season. Like I will say this, like, fuck yeah, we signed Torian Prince. We traded for Torian Prince. That was such a great fucking deal. I don't know, man.
It was.
It's been a savior to our bench to have someone who can play the 4, potentially even play a 5 spot role, especially when like Nas and Cat were out or injured or in foul trouble, right? So yeah, dude, and his defense is awesome. Like, and it may not register on his specific stat line, but he gets a lot of deflections or he gets a lot of like fronts. So then the balls don't go, the ball entry pass is not clean. And that either takes time or gets them into shot clock situations, or the things that Prince does is something that like a, savvy 10-year vet does. And he does, right? So it's like, we have some, consistency and just like we rely on you now, and now because you're here you can't go back, and he hasn't gone back to, and he bet on himself and getting 400, getting to the 40% from 3 and getting back to his original like style of play in Atlanta. Like that's what he is now for us. It's awesome.
And it's it's crazy because like obviously Torian had a great night tonight, and you would almost want to say like, oh, he was so crucial. But it's like the whole team. I mean, the whole team is stepping up in every way. Especially on a night like tonight, like I felt everybody contributed quite well to the game. So like you kind of want to say, wow, Torian really saved us. But like we were up by like 15 when he was saving us. So it's like it's kind of impressive. I will say though, there's just
you're right.
The confidence that I have in Torian now is sky high. And if need be, if he had to start a game, I wouldn't necessarily be that worried. So, and I can say that about Beasley. I can say that about Prince. I could even maybe say that about Noel. There's a lot of players where it's like if they had to step into the starting role, as long as it's not like our entire starting 5 is decimated, I am comfortable. Because they're shot makers, and none of them are really bad decision makers. So, you love it. I mean, you could maybe argue Jalen Noel is a little bit Shabazz-like, but he makes it. He makes his buckets. So, anyways, I think we're gonna go with a high B for Torian tonight. I already put him there actually. Whoops, I did that without even knowing. It looks like we've got a Hornets. Whoa, Hornets chant in the chat. Hornets are now back up by 13 when it got down to like.
Let's go.
That would be insane.
Buzz.
Yes, buzz buzz.
I don't know.
Next
The
up, who
buzz
do we
buzz
get?
boys.
We got
I would
Jordan
say like Jalen
McLaughlin.
Noel and sorry for
Oh,
talking over you.
you're good.
Uh,
I'll talk. So, Jordan. Oh yeah, I don't even have Jordan on here. I'm so unprepared. Jordan McLaughlin. He had 7 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and only 1 steal. I swear I remember 2 or 3. 3 of 5 shooting. Uh, Again, I think Jordan's having some quality minutes. Jordan is probably somebody that I am not super confident in right now, but he is gaining my confidence every game, similar to how Jaden started gaining my confidence about halfway through the year. Um, Nothing spectacular. He did do that one play that I think Jim Pete even referenced on the broadcast tonight, the D'Lo and Jordan McLaughlin play where they do this kind of like no look to the basket layup thing.
yeah.
I love it. I give him a B.
He's a B. You know what's so awesome about what he does, what Tyus Jones and other bench guards in the past have not done, is he just pushes the pace, man. I feel so comfortable with him out there at any given moment, and I think sometimes we bring in Noel for D'Lo, sometimes we bring in McLaughlin, and it gives us different rhythms, different paces, and Finch gets to play off of feel, like what's running right now, what's working right now. Let's get a little bit more pace going. Let's get McLaughlin in, right? When we need a little bit more ISO scoring, let's get Noel in. And like what D'Lo wasn't doing was making shots or taking them really. So put in Noel, right? When we need more pace and more passing, more distribution, get McLaughlin in. And then early situations in the second quarter, we can get McLaughlin and D'Lo, and then that give and go happens. It's fucking awesome. And it's hard to plan for. We have all these paces and rhythms, and they're all different, and they kind of, in a weird way, work.
Yeah.
Our offense is like becoming a little, I wouldn't say Phoenix of old, but it's like 7 seconds or less. We get into an early action and we just take it, we just chuck. We just take a 3.
Yeah.
It's wild. 53s essentially tonight. That's more than half our shots were threes. I don't know. It's wild. But
Again, I'm trying not to get too confident, but the one thing that I am feeling more confident about every single game is, even through all of the season when we were like the number 1, top 5 offense, whatever it was, I never was really like, yeah, we have the best offense in the league. Like nobody can stop us. That was never my thought process. It was more of like we played a bad defense and like we just have people that can make buckets. Although that is still true, like we do have like we run sets certainly much more. I mean, the beginning of the season was kind of atrocious, especially when we were 4-9. Me and Ashwin, both of us were like, we have major concerns with this Finch system of like flow and like waiting for things to happen. Cat gets the ball, nobody's moving. Things have changed. And we do run sets. Sure, there still is flow or whatever you want to call it, but like this is a team tonight was crazy. I just kept like I was like every time we would score, I mean it was like Beasley once, Torian Prince the next, Ant the next, Cat the next, D'Lo.
Anyone shooting. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's like, oh my goodness, everyone's on. You can game plan for a player or two, but you can't game plan for 5 players consistently making threes throughout an entire game. You can't. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Even if you count Naz Reid, like 8 players or so that can make threes on a consistent basis.
Right.
You don't want to go up against a team that's hitting all of those.
Not Jerry Vanderbilt though.
No, Jared did take one tonight and he missed badly.
That was bad. That was a bad play. That was when we were like, what are we running? But anyways,
yes.
On that note, Jordan McLaughlin hit that 3, and it was the first time I've ever seen like a early action pick and just set shot for Jordan McLaughlin. Usually it's like on like a shot clock situation where he's just taking that 3.
Yeah.
But no, it was like early offense. That was really cool to see. And so more trust, more confidence, more guts is what we're seeing from players.
The more players making threes, the more players are going to take them, and that's why we're going to see some more Vando threes.
yeah.
But
I mean, spot on point though about like the pace, turning into transition, turning into like the feel of the game, turning into open threes left and right, and anyone could take them. We had like 25. We doubled up the fast break points. We doubled up the steals. We out assisted them. We were more careful with the ball, even though it felt like we had 30 turnovers from D'Lo alone. So it's like, I don't know. Against a hot team, a defending champ team, a defensive oriented team, like we did this to them. That was pretty interesting.
Momo in the chat says it's taken time for Finch to make adjustments, but he's making the right calls.
Yeah,
I 100% agree.
definitely.
And I hate quoting other podcasts just because it makes me seem like I don't know anything. And especially because I typically only quote one. But I was listening to the Dane Moore show with Britt Robson the other day, and they came up with a good point. They were talking about the lineups and like Jaden being out now and how that is they're gonna have to like figure out different lineups. And I believe it was Dane that was like, kind of, throughout the season, we've seen so many different lineups from Finch, and Finch has been trying everything that we're not at the point where like, oh, we've never had Nas and Torian play together or something like that. Like everyone has played together now. So realistically, I mean, we are definitely missing Jaden and his defense, but like, and his scoring lately. But like we have people that can score. We have other lineups that we've tried. And now we're getting to the point where we're really just honing in on those lineups that work. And it's fun to see. So anyways, let's go next up, Jalen Noel, and it's actually in the right order this time. Jalen played 20 minutes, had 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists. This seems to be like the new Jalen Noel stat line. 4 of 11 shooting again. I think that's exactly what he was the last game too. So not as good of shooting performance, but obviously he can still make buckets. He was 2 of 4 from 4, or from 3 from 4. My God, talking to him in the future. And he had 2 fouls. But I think tonight another solid night. Nothing crazy good. Again, nothing crazy bad. I guess this is, I maybe need to calibrate what I expect out of Jalen Noel, because like at this point, this is almost what I expect out of him. So I almost am tempted to give him a C, but at the same time, like I still have this kind of like high on Jalen Noel where I'm like, oh, I want to give him a B because it was like fun to see.
Yeah, you give him a B. When in doubt, give him a B because he was there. He was there all night for us whenever we needed him. We had extended minutes for him, it felt like, at a point. And he's one of the only guys that can really reliably drive to the rim. And while it doesn't really matter in this game, it mattered in this game because that opened up the 3-point line, specifically in the third when he got in there, and really just popped off. So like when he was in there, Beasley was in there, Ant was in there, they're all just popping off because Noel's ability to drive, Ant's ability to drive can really create that space. So when we were not in transition, it's really nice to have. And he's a weapon and he's reliable. Like maybe his handle isn't perfect, but he's aggressively looking for his shot. And so then that handle only matters partially, right? And I think it even we're given the trust in him where it was like, I think Kat was setting a repeated screen for him once. And then he was like backing up just so then Jalen could have a drive to the rim. It was really interesting. Yeah, great point about like lineup fix like situations and how we're seeing all these permutations of people playing together, and now we're seeing Kat and Noel play together. Like that's another thing that I'm looking at and seeing like, oh, there's so much potential here. It gets me excited. It really does.
I know.
We're experimenting and also within the margins of a game and not worrying about every possession. Holy crap, would I like rip beard hairs out about every possession. Now I'm kind of relaxed. Now I'm chilling. Now I'm like, this is just one possession, so it's great to see. Maybe that's not really about Jalen Noel, but it's awesome that he's a B player for us on a pretty routine basis. 100%. Malik Beasley, pretty similar stat line, 22 minutes, 3 of 9 instead of 4 for 11, 2 of 5 instead of 2 for 4 from 3. Had some rebounds just like Noel, had some assists just like Noel. Basically a point difference, but bench high plus 24 because he probably started in place of Beverly in the second half.
Yep.
I'll give Beasley a B. He was there as well, maybe on the lower B because he wasn't popping off for 11 threes or whatever, but that's not going to happen ever again. But I don't know, Beasley.
I think it will.
Yeah,
I'm like Team Beasley for some reason.
You're
all year long, I've been like, he is Klay Thompson for us.
Yeah,
the old Klay Thompson, not the new Klay Thompson.
Not current. No, yeah, I think it's awesome to have these gunners in our back pocket when we're down big or when we need to make a 12-point lead, a 20-point lead. We have Beasley there, and I can reliably see a shot from him and know that he's not taking a bad shot. very rarely do I see a bad shot from him. And usually when it is, it's like kind of a drive to the rim and like not knowing exactly what to do.
Exactly. Yes. When
he's cut that out. He's cut most of that out.
The minute he puts the ball on the floor, I'm like, nope, get it away. Like I don't want to see it in your hands anymore. But yeah.
Update. End of third. Charlotte is up 22. Dallas, you are losing this game, please.
Are they losing their marbles? Like seriously, they are crumbling. They lost the last game. They're looking like they're going to lose this game.
Dude.
I mean, we're going to be a game and a half back of the 5th seed after tonight, and we just beat the Bucks.
Yeah.
That's crazy. And we blew out the Bucks. So,
ooh,
boy.
Oh, and Headshot just said that. That's awesome.
Yes. I thought that's what you got from you. Yes. Mavs, I'm not going to say gonna lose, but I'm going to say they might lose. They might lose. But, on to the starters. And we'll do Pat Bev first. Obviously, he got kicked out of the game. To be honest with you, I was kind of mad when he got kicked out of the game.
Same. I was mad at that.
I get that it gets the crowd pumped and it gets really exciting and stuff like that, but like maybe not do that in the first quarter. Also, it was a completely unnecessary play. It was like Torian and Ibaka, I think, were like face to face. Didn't even look that serious. It was more of just like jawing at each other. But then Pat Bev comes out of nowhere and just shoves him. I didn't fully get to see why George Hill got ejected too. Did he shove back or something?
Instantly, like Beverly shoved doesn't matter who, Portis, I think. And then George Hill was just right there shoving Beverly back. It was such a nothing situation. I wish there were either texts or nothing happened, but because they took 10 minutes, they had to have some result. And apparently that means ejections. Yeah. It was pretty sad to see from the refs, but I don't know. I don't care. Also, Patrick Beverly, we need you, but maybe he was kind of doing it. Greg Popovich was like, fuck it, wink. Like, I just want to get out of this game because they don't need me. I don't know, like opens the doors for other players to just get minutes. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But he had 3 points in 9 minutes. 1 rebound, 1 steal, and a block. That's kind of a lot of production for 9 minutes.
Yeah. But I don't know. We won to see, but like this is sad, you know.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't want to have that happen.
I think it's probably a C, just because it's hard to judge this one. But if we would have lost, this could have been even Wancho. You know, I mean, you can't take yourself out of this game because that is actively hurting the team. I don't, sure, it got the crowd involved, but it's not like the crowd wasn't involved in the game at that point. It's not like you had lost the crowd and had to bring it back. I can see circumstances where you're like deep in the second or after the third when people are still getting their concessions at halftime or something, and you need to get people energized again. That's not what this was. This was just kind of like unnecessary. I didn't love it, but we'll give him a C just because we won and it didn't hurt, but it easily could have, in my mind, been a Wancho. So, yeah, Momo, you do that when you're 20 down. Exactly. Which is why I expected Portis to kind of do some things. When they were down 20 at a point, I was like, uh-oh, they might start to get us riled up, and I hope we don't get suspensions. But yeah, C for Beverly. Who you want to do next? You want to do Vanderbilt?
Let's go Jared Vanderbilt. I'll read a stat line since I'm right here. 32 minutes, 3 for 4 from the field. A 3-point attempt. 4 free throw attempts as well. 8 rebounds, all of them defensive. 4 fouls in a game where I felt like there weren't any fouls called, except for against Cat, or except for Cat, I guess. 9 points, plus 15 overall from the game. Are you ready for a grade?
I am ready.
We have Chipotle. Chipotle is life 23.
Yes.
Hey, welcome.
Welcome, Chipotle. I think Chipotle is from Timberwolves Daily, I believe.
Oh, cool.
Welcome back.
Well, thanks for interrupting my thought process. Are you ready for a countdown?
Yes.
The countdown is starting in 3, 2, 1. Just kidding. All right, a grade in 3, 2, 1. C.
Yeah, I could be swayed either way. I'm too. I like Vanderbilt too much. I know I was kind of critical. I think maybe I'm overcompensating for my criticalness of him the other day. But like this is like what we expect out of Vando. 9 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, getting to the line is great, and making most of them is great. Taking a 3-point attempt is not great. That's also something you do when you're up 20, not in the first quarter when we're like tied. But Yeah, I think I could probably be talked down into a C. I think it just it's average. Not to say that's bad. I mean, Vando has great games almost always, so I'm super happy with Vando's production. But it's kind of a C.
I didn't really see anything from him. He didn't really get any second possessions from him, but maybe he wasn't even needed because we were just flame throwing from three. So in that regard, that's fine. Sometimes he's late in transition and late in getting back into play, such as Cat is as well. My camera's going off. I'll stop here in a second, but didn't see much from Vando to really solicit much of a grade. Honestly, I'll be right back.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I see those rebounds, and they're valuable rebounds because they're rebounds that this Timberwolves team typically has not gotten in previous years. So I always am valuing his rebounding, but and defense at times. I love Vando's defense, but at times you're right, he can be late to things. And I think I've kind of hinted at this before. I do think Timberwolves players even get a little frustrated with Vando at times with his missed assignments on defense occasionally. But he is a good, longer, taller defender that can go up against like the LeBrons a little. I mean, not physically as like stop him from moving and posting up, but like he's long enough. He's a good enough defender to be able to disrupt. And obviously, he makes people very angry. So on our side and the other side. So I agree, though. I don't really have much else to say other than a C.
It's nice to see him out there, not hurting, not hobbling, and not falling to the ground, also in pain every other play. So I hope he takes care of himself through the stretch where we need him the most, but also to play the way that he does to get the minutes that he does, right? So we need all-out assault from him, but with reservations of his back.
Or hip or whatever he's got hurt right now. I don't even know. But
a couple comments in chat. Chipotle is Life 23 said was waiting for Grayson Allen to start injuring our players. I had this like weird premonition when they announced the starting lineup. I'm like, please no, Ant's knees are too precious.
Oh my
and then
gosh,
I was like, get this shit out of my head. I had to not think about it, so I could like take a lap, which is me just ordering Chipotle itself. And then MBB 424 says, I just think D'Lo is a D. Too many bad plays on O for me. If he can get it together, watch out. Which maybe we should move to D'Lo here in a second. Momo said, I got really scared when Ant was on one of those fast breaks. And yes, and Grayson Allen was trailing him as well. I was also freaking out. Momo also said, man, a lot of Momo. Hell yeah, more Momo. Momo, isn't that from Airbender? I just started watching Airbender, and apparently Momo is a big character in that show. But anyways, I'm showing up 20 years later here, watching some Nickelodeon show. Momo also said, might be an overreaction, but I might pick Ant to be our best on-ball defender. Overreaction to Ant's revenant defensive play. Also up 30, which is sick.
This is insane. They're gonna lose. Yeah.
So that's awesome. But I think these are all true facts, man. Like Beverly has plays, but he also lets people buy him just as often as D'Lo does. And Ant is really assertive himself as like this, like defensive back. Like he's there to like stop you at the 5-yard line. You're not getting past me. And then he just rips the ball from LeBron. And then in this game, he rips the ball from Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton's like trailing him in the transition game, like yelling at the ref. And it's like, yeah, you got swiped. That's awesome. And that wrecks a player's mentality. Like that changes the game. And Middleton, the all-star, went for 15 points. Like he neutralized them and then some, right? It's awesome. Anyways.
I agree with Momo's take. I don't think it's an overreaction. I don't think it's a hot take. I think it's just facts. I think he is the best defender on this team. Yeah. He has
crazy
an insane ability. And as we see tonight, as we'll get to him shortly, I mean, he had 25 points. So the ability to have both sides of the ball is what makes us just so excited about him. But
yeah, you want this great Ant right now?
We could do Ant, yeah, and then we'll go to D'Lo after. So we'll start with Ant. Ant had 25 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists. That kind of 25, 5, and 5 game. 3 steals. He was 9 of 16 shooting, so a Karl Anthony Towns shooting game.
What? Only 3 steals?
Only 3 steals.
I swear I saw 5.
Maybe they were hockey steals. But 5 of 10 from 3. And only 1 personal foul, which actually happened within like the first 2 minutes of the game too, which I was nervous about. But
right.
I am ready for a grade.
Yeah.
3, 2, 1, A.
A.
Yep.
Let's go.
Bro.
This is the Ant that is going to transcend this franchise. Apparently, he's now our best defender. Apparently, he's, when he got his first layup, he then started chucking threes and they were going in. And it's like, yeah, this is Ant's game. Like, this is not going to be any sort of controversial take here. Ant's going to go off and he's going to have multiple efforts on plays because he's seeing his own efforts. Like, he's seeing it in the flesh. So he's like going for it.
He's a confidence player. If he gets a defensive stop, he's gonna score. Yeah. If he makes a 3 in a game, it's over. Like, he will do everything: drive, step back, dish, everything. Like, he does it all. And we saw it all.
His passing's improved too. Man,
he's scary good. The main thing is putting it together for a season, and we haven't had a full season of this. We had a good stretch at the beginning of the season where Ant was playing tremendous defense and being a great offensive player. Whether that meant scoring a lot, passing a lot, rebounding, whatever it was, he was doing it. And then like throughout the middle of the season, he was weaker on defense, definitely weaker on offense. He was having like 5-point, 3-point games and stuff like that. But these are the nights that like us super Ant fans are like, yeah, this is why I don't worry about what LaMelo's doing in Charlotte. This is why, and not that this isn't any slight against him. Like, I have no issue with LaMelo, but like, I don't regret anything about choosing Ant because he can be a crazy good player. As Pat Bev said, he can be MJ if he wants to be. So he just could. But yes,
and LaMelo's popping off 5 for 8 from 3, 17 points, 6 assists, 4 steals. That's awesome.
Going LaMelo.
Let's go LaMelo. I'm such a fan of his, and I don't like the idea that you immediately are a first or second, third pick and you're rivals. Like, there's no such thing. That they are all like feel like they're all brothers, and then like they're rooting for each other.
Yeah,
right?
They don't have any beef. They've even said that they're like, we don't have anything against each other.
Yeah. And I'm all for new blood, so I just want like Raptors. I want like the Hornets to be good too, man. I want the change in the East as soon as possible. But it's seriously. Anyways.
Okay, well, we got Ant in A.
Say it again.
We've got Ant in A tier, top of A tier today.
Yeah, I think that's acceptable.
Yep.
Do you want to do Cat next?
We can do Cat. You want to save D'Lo for last?
Yeah,
we can do that.
Cat, who came in with a sleeve with a potential contusion in his wrist, was questionable 2 hours in, and apparently, according to a text thread, we got some insight from a text thread that Dave Benz exposed. Jim Pete said, "Wow."
I didn't hear this.
Like exposing text threads now of what other people are saying. Anyways, that was whatever. I don't even know why I said any of that. 32 minutes, 6 for 12, so only 12 attempts, back to his old form, but probably because he was playing on half an arm. 4 for 6 from 3. That's more like it, Cat. More threes. Please be that guy. 11 free throw attempts, 11 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, a couple turnovers in there mixed with a couple fouls, 25 points, team high 26. Are you ready for a grade for Cat?
I am.
Yeah. In 3, 2, 1.
B plus.
Hey. Yeah. You know what's really funny? When he was falling to the ground a bunch, I was like, this is gonna be a Wancho game. I don't want him out there, and he's out there. He's telling the team and the medical staff he needs to be out there, but he's obviously hurting. And then he stopped falling to the ground, and then he just started chucking, and then he was making all the shots, and it looked awesome. And it looked like no one could stop him. Brook Lopez, has basically a similar game as to Cat, and at least from the perimeter, and couldn't do a thing to him. Did the rip through on Brook Lopez, which was awesome to see. Yes. It's just like he has a lot of tools in his bag that is now being kind of unzipped and shown. And even the behind the back passes are a little bit more crisp, and his drives to the rim, maybe less so in this game, are just more purposeful. Like, he's figuring it out. He's unleashed himself as his true self. And it makes me question everything about basketball when I'm thinking it needs to be this type of player leading your team, this type of player being a center. This guy is so different, and we're letting him be different as opposed to Tibbs putting him in a box.
Yeah.
He's actually supposed to be outside of the box. The whole time he was supposed to be outside the box.
Yeah. Yeah. It's, it's been a journey with Towns this year. One that I certainly did not expect to be having, where we are succeeding here at the end of the season with Towns dominating almost every matchup he does. Getting free throws, like he only had 12 shot attempts, but if you take in the free throws into account, like you could add another 5 shot attempts because shot attempts don't count if you get fouled and miss it. So he's getting those actual shot attempts, still lower probably than we'd want for our star that can shoot 50% every single night if he wanted to, from 3 if he wanted to. So sure, maybe some more looks for him, but like Ant was working, Cat was working, and D'Lo even made some shots tonight. I mean, he was 6 of 12 too. It didn't feel like it, but he was 6 of 12 tonight. And as we've said before, we had 2 bench players go off for 14. So we had other options, and that's what makes this team deadly. Because Towns could go off and go for 60 if the other guys aren't on, which is exactly what happened against the Spurs. Sure, it's the Spurs. It's not like a top tier team, but Cat is showing an ability to take over games, and he's doing it at the right time. I mean, 25, 11, and 5, or 25, 11, and 5 is crazy. Not to mention 2 steals and 11 free throws and only 3 fouls. Like, that's a huge win. That alone, I should be giving him an A. I guess, the falling down does concern me, especially if you're injured. Like, you're falling, like he hasn't been falling down that much. And tonight, of course, he's injured, questionable, and he's falling down all the time. And I know, like, people, like Towns fans are going to be like, wow, you're making fun of Towns for getting pushed to the ground or whatever. But it's like, no, it's different. Like, he is falling when he doesn't necessarily need to fall. Or if you're injured, you shouldn't be out there, and I just don't think he's actually that injured. I think he probably got hurt in a previous game, but I don't know. Obviously, he was fine. He looked good out there, but every time he fell, he was holding his wrist. So it's crazy. But I think, this is a good game. I said B+. Did you say A?
I did say A.
I think, with us,
I could be down to a B+. You can go up to an A. It's kind of the same grade, so it's a shade of orange.
I'm going to go up to an A- just because, I mean, we won. We won by a lot. Towns is dominating, and I shouldn't be hating. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
A former version of Cat in this season would have had a different box score, would have had a different output, would have had 12 shot attempts, maybe made 7 or 8, but wouldn't have gotten to the line 11 times. Wouldn't have gotten double rebounds, like double-digit rebounds. He would have passed, and he would have had 7 turnovers. This is just a more contained, refined, evolved, and confident MVP caliber player, or at least all NBA player. Now he's getting attention. Now he's getting noticed, and he's backing it up.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all he's ever wanted.
Yeah, he's been trying to get the attention so he could actually back it up.
Yeah.
Hey, you're right, though. I mean, he got a lot of media attention after the last game when he apparently the airball thing just drove people insane. I am hearing less people talk about Patrick Beverley, who literally held his nose at the Lakers bench, which is insane, by the way. Yeah. But Cat looking for an airball, that apparently set everyone way further than Pat Bev holding his nose. And then, I mean, I'm not a huge fan of when Cat goes on Twitch and talks about stuff, but he was speaking facts. He was he's like, oh, so when Russ rocks the baby, that's amazing. I love it. But when we have any amount of fun during a game, it's like, oh my gosh, the Timberwolves need to be canceled. And you know what it is? All it is that teams aren't used to being beat by us. Teams are sad, and they can't comprehend that they just got beaten by the double-decade team that hasn't done anything. And they have been able to, without any repercussions, make fun of every time they play, because what does it matter? It's the Timberwolves. They aren't going to be able to back it up. And Towns not only comes back verbally against this and speaks facts, he comes out the next game, goes 25, 11, and 5, and we beat the Bucks by 20.
You're right. Yeah.
That is crazy. And if I could tell us from the beginning of this year that, we would die on the floor because we wouldn't believe it. It would be insane.
Right.
So props to Cat. He's an A tonight and has been for quite some time, realistically.
Rest the fuck up, because we need you for this week here. For sure.
Definitely.
And now to the last player. Not sure if he was the player of the night. I don't think so, but he wears number O from the Ohio State University D'Angelo Russell, 30 minutes, 6 for 12 from the field, 4 for 8 from three, which is better than I thought. 3 rebounds, 9 assists, 1 foul, but 5 turnovers, a plus 15 with 16 points, also more than I thought. Are you ready for a grade?
Yeah.
Yeah. So in 3, 2, 1.
C.
C. We're C-lowing tonight?
I'm C-lowing tonight. I am torn because initially I went to Twitter in the first half
Oh,
and
don't
I
never
was
go.
like, well, I said D'Lo forgot how to play basketball again. He is missing. He's taking kind of weird shots. Sure, he at the end of the first half he had 6 points and 6 assists or something like that. So like that's not like so terrible, but like I just didn't like it. I felt like a lot of the plays that he was making were meh. I'm not saying that he actively took away from the team. It's not like these past few games where I felt like he took away from the team. This just felt like, I mean, he's taking shots that I'm like, these like contested 2-pointers, like semi late in the shot clock, but he's not making it. But then he hit all those threes. Like looking at his stats, that's not how I feel like the game went. Um, and I'm not like some D'Lo hater. If there's any D'Lo stands, I promise you, I am not this D'Lo hater that you hear of, because there are, and we've talked about this before. All the D'Lo stands, well, not all of them. A lot of them don't like Cat and Ant. All the Ant stands don't like Cat and D'Lo, and the Cat stands don't like Ant and D'Lo because they take away from all of each other. But that's not what we are. We have been fans of D'Lo for the most part this season. I
Mhm.
just think tonight was like he's had a couple bad games in a row. Maybe this wasn't a bad game, but I also just don't feel like this was that same game where D'Lo affects the game so much.
Yeah.
But the stats are way better. I mean, they're not fantastic, but they're better than I expected by a lot. I don't know. I'm conflicted with this one tonight.
I agree. My main little like stick here, the reason why I wanted to keep it last is because this was not the D'Lo I remember from the beginning of the season, and I don't remember in the middle of the season where he changed his game a little bit and was a little bit more assertive at getting to the rim and crafty and kind of
Mm-hmm.
like smart at like getting to the rim. He didn't get to the line at all tonight. He didn't.
Yeah.
He used to be a chucker, that transition three chucker. He's not doing that as much anymore. That's just great, but he's doing fadeaway twos, contested twos. Like where was that in our game plan?
Yeah.
That's not usually in our game plan. What I like is creativity within the pick and roll, within the give and go, within like those offensive like sets, early sets. He's
Mm-hmm.
very crafty. He's very creative. He can thread it like no other. Like
Yeah.
it's so fun to see that when he was doing it to Nas, when he was giving it to Cat, when he was able to like then also then pitch it, no look to Beasley for a three, or pitch it to Ant, or do some sort of other thing. Really cool, right? But when he then runs out of options and says, "Oh, well, we did the first, second, third, uh, like action in that one play. Well, now it's just on me to take a shot." He's not looking for the free throw. He's not looking to drive to the rim. He's just kind of just shooting a shot, right? Just like shooting something. And it's not a three. It's not. I don't know. It was a little frustrating to watch, but he redeemed himself, I think, in the second, in the fourth quarter, where he led our team in scoring in the fourth. And it wasn't like out of question that we were going to lose the game or anything, but just having a steady dose of someone who's a starter who's being paid $30 million, being like, yeah, I got this, don't worry about it, was nice to see, right?
Yeah.
And he made a couple threes, he made a few shots close to the rim. That's great. But I just want to see him more crafty. I want to see him more assertive in moments, D'Lo, where he gets to the line, because we were in the bonus. Cat got to the line
Yeah.
a lot,
Yeah.
and then he didn't do anything with that bonus.
Yep.
Right? We got to the bonus in the third quarter, and he didn't do anything with that bonus.
Exactly.
That's the rip throughs. Get to the line, like
Yeah.
just do something that's like disruptive. And I hope that that's what we get to see this next week, because we're going to need any sort of answer to whatever momentum they're going to bring to us, right? So,
Because I mean, if you look at it, like tonight, other than D'Lo, I feel like other than D'Lo and Pat Bev, I'd say the team was a well-oiled machine that was very unlikely to lose.
yeah,
If we have Pat Bev back in the game, and if we have D'Lo doing D'Lo things where he's just making these absolutely crushing shots that are like, even if they are contested, or just making the craziest passes, being super talkative on D. I think if we get, what MBB is saying in the chat right now, if we can get prime D'Lo back, this team is if we play like we did tonight with prime D'Lo, we're unstoppable. Like nobody's gonna stop us because if Towns is on, if Ant is on, and D'Lo is on, which I don't think we've ever truly had like a full three of them, maybe one game this season, but like three of them being on in one game where they all go off. Yeah, there was one game where they scored like 96 points combined, I think. But other than that, like we haven't really had a big three dominating game with a good bench because if that happens, we win any game. It doesn't matter defense even because we would just win based on offense. And that's the great thing about us is that we do have defense. I would love to see all three of our big players like that go off in some way. And it doesn't necessarily mean that D'Lo has to score 30 points or 25 points or even 20 points. It just means like be contributing to the offense and defense if needed to the point where we are unstoppable. So, yeah, I hope for more from D'Lo. I'm not so mad about D'Lo tonight, but I will put him above Pat Bev and maybe above Vando. I guess I don't know about that. I'll just put him in C though, because he definitely. I mean, Pat Bev scarily it made this game too scary when it didn't need to be too early. But D'Lo was there contributing the whole game. Apparently, I just missed it. So, but yeah, pretty healthy tier list tonight. All A, B, and C. Other than obviously Wancho, this is not a Wancho movable night. He is still in Glenn Taylor tier. I think the only other time that we might consider Wancho moving up is maybe if we get like the 5 or 6 seed, and maybe if we make it deep into the playoffs. We will start to consider things.
Yeah.
But hey, I mean, we got to win first. We got to see what happens. Well, yeah. So next game we have is on Monday, I believe, and it's in Dallas. 7:30 game. Big game because Dallas is about to lose to the Hornets. We will be 1.5 games back of them. We win against them in Dallas. There's pressure on them. Tons of pressure. Then we play the Suns on Wednesday. The Mavs on Friday at home. At our home. And for the Suns as well. And then we go to Boston. Go to Toronto. So this is the next 5 games are 6 games really. So we have 6 games left. There's 6 games that are really bad here in a row. And by really bad, I just mean like they're capable teams. We're not playing like the Rockets or, I mean, we do play the Spurs later on this season, but like the Spurs or something like that. It's Mavs, Suns, Mavs, Celtics, Toronto, and then Nuggets. So we've got 6 teams that are capable of beating us. Not that we aren't capable of beating them, but it's going to be a little bit tricky. So this is where the seeding is decided. The next few games is where it is decided. If we lose early, like if we lose on Monday, and then if we lose on Wednesday, basically it's the 7th seed unless Denver just stops winning games, which doesn't seem likely. So kind of exciting. What are you thinking? We're going to see any excitement next week, or do you think we're going to flop?
I think roll the dice, check the scouting, check the injury report day of, and hope for some people taking some days off. Like I don't know, man. I don't know. They wouldn't, but these are two pivotal games to miss, right? So they're not resting a Doncic or a Jokic. So
yeah, that would be hilarious if one of these games they rest them. Like the Timberwolves just get nobody against them. It's crazy. Yeah, it'll be fun. I'm super excited. We've said this before. We've been excited for other games that we've been kind of devastated by, but these next 3 games I'm pretty excited for. Sure, we might lose to Mavs in Dallas on Monday because away games are tricky. This is a very important game. They're going to be highly motivated. We're going to be highly motivated. Should be fun. Hopefully it's competitive. And then that game kind of decides my mood for the next 2. But either way,
for sure.
I'm excited to see some good basketball, some meaningful basketball. And I'll say this, I mean, at this point in the season, I mean, I'm already happy. We've beat my win projection for the season. We're about to beat your win projection for the season. I can't complain. You know, we're gonna be in the play-in no matter what. It's I guess it's a good time to be a Timberwolves fan.
538 projects us to have 47 wins, which is insane. That's just a hair off of 52, which is still in play. Unbelievable. I don't know. Like, I remember when we had a 5 or 6 game lose streak, and I was like, you know what? It's time to fold the franchise. I remember after the All-Star break, we had a 2 or 3 game lose streak, and I was like, you know what? It's time to fold the franchise. Yeah. I was like in that mind space. Like I was so game to game, just wired with like a roller coaster of emotion, and I could go either way. I don't know whose draft stock has risen or fallen, or who's in the number 1 pick. I don't know. It's like some skinny white dude, apparently, Chet Holmgren or something.
Chet, yeah.
Like, I don't care, and it's been so nice to not care. What's up, Yehaj? It's nice to see you. It's so nice to not know. And it's like, even if we do kind of have a roadblock here, as you say, or like a 2 or 3 game kind of slid, it'll suck, but my spirits are still high because we're here. We've made the postseason, and we can just kind of limp into the 7th seed. But these 3 games are going to be critical. It'll be nice, but we are a little unhealthy, and we needed people like Jaden. We needed people like, you know, Pat Bev to not get ejected. So who knows who's going to be out, but I'm hoping that these guys know that these are the 3 most important games of the season, and circle them and get ready and get their night, you know, their night's sleep or whatever. I don't know what the fuck I'm saying. Eat your Wheaties and kick some ass, because these games are going to be awesome. I'm going to be taking, I don't know, a bunch of de-stressors before the games, and we'll see what happens.
Yes. And as Yeehaw says, you know, I'm sure you meant bandwagon, but I kind of like bangwagon. I think that
I like the bangwagon.
Yeah, so everybody join the Timberwolves bangwagon. It's a good week to do so. Yeah. Like the video if you haven't liked it already. But yeah, stop hating on the Wolves. You know the Wolves are going to the playoffs, and Yeehaj, they very well may. And we may be in the 5 seed next week. Who knows?
Who knows?
But anyways, it's been a fun show. Funny enough, Ashwin and I said this would be a short one. Here we are, an hour and a half in. So, but that's tradition. And as tradition, 52 wins, still possible, seemingly likely at this point. And intro as the outro. We will see you Monday night after the Mavs game, and who knows what our moods will be then. We will see you Monday night. Intro as the outro. Final time. Goodbye.
What was our secret word of the day, though?
What are you?
What's our secret word?
Our secret word. Yeah, we need a secret word. Secret word should be bangwagon, of course.
It's bangwagon.
Bangwagon, yes. All right. See everybody bangwagon in the comments of the VOD if you're watching the VOD. All right. We'll see you Monday night.